today we are going to be putting together these really adorable faux fur gift boxes. I purchased this so that I could kind of use it as a template to make my own. Now, this one was $20 regular price, but it was 50% off, so I paid $10 for it. However, we're gonna make this for a whole lot less using dollar store supplies. First of all, you're gonna need a couple of boxes. Both these boxes came from the dollar store. I bought them actually a couple of years ago, and so I'm reusing them for this project this year. However, I did see at the Dollar Tree that they had boxes very similar to this. I also found this fleece scarf in this animal print. I found this in the car care automotive section. Now this is a microfiber cloth, but if you look closely, it is super soft, just like a faux fur. So we're gonna use this one for another box. I have a couple of spools of ribbon, and I chose a thicker one and a thinner one. The thin one came from the dollar store. The larger one came from Hobby Lobby, but I did see dollar store ribbon that was very similar, that was wire edged like this. You're gonna need some ornaments and greenery. I did grab 2 of these really pretty poinsettia picks. I also picked up a few ornaments that I'm going to use on the top of my box, like the one that we have as a sample. You're going to need some scissors and some hot glue. Alright, we are going to start with our round box first, and we're going to use the long scarf for this one because we're going to need the longest portion of fabric to cover the outside circumference. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut off the tassels on the end of the scarf. So next we're going to take a couple of quick measurements. We want to measure out the width of our round box. We want to add on about an additional inch to this measurement. And we're going to make a little mark. All right, and we're going to try to connect those lines so we have a nice straight line when we cut. You're gonna find the seam. We're gonna kind of put that at the edge. We're gonna just use that seam as a guide. We're gonna roll until we get to where the seam ends. And we're gonna go ahead and make a mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out this strip right now. Okay, so here is the strip. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is we're going to trace around the bottom of our box. And this is gonna cover the bottom portion. And we're gonna flip our box upside down and trace around the top. So you're gonna have 2 more circles that you're gonna need to cut out now. Okay, so now I have my my long strip that's going to cover the outside edge, and I have a bottom piece and a top. I'm going to start right at the seam. I'm going to put a strip of hot glue from the bottom to the top, and we're going to lay our long strip into that hot glue. We're just going to continue making a strip of glue. We'll roll our box right into that. We're going to continue this all the way around. Roll until we get back to the seam. We're gonna just take a little bit of another strip of glue and kind of glue this down. I actually like to use some scissors in case the glue kind of spits out the end so you're not burning your finger. We're gonna flip our box upside down. We're now going to take this little excess and glue that down. And again, you can use some scissors or something flat to do this, because I find when you're pushing down, it goes through the fabric a little bit. And again, you're gonna kind of just use those scissors to kind of fold down that seam and just keep working clockwise all the way around. Okay, as you can see, we have our 1/2 inch seam all the way glued down across the bottom of our box, and we're going to take our bottom circle, which should be the smaller of the 2 circles, and this is going to be glued down right on top of that seam. I'm going to hold the center and kind of peel up with my finger still in the center. I'm going to put a little dot of glue right in the center, and I'll push that down in place. And then we're gonna go ahead and start gluing this around our outside edge. And just work a little at a time And make sure that edge is perfectly lined up with your box edge. So now you should have your side glued down and your bottom glued down. We're going to do the same thing to the top. We're going to start gluing that top seam down. Starting at the edge. We're going to kind of take our fabric and using our scissors kind of pull it over and hold it down into the glue and work clockwise all the way around until that top seam is all glued down into place. Our final thing that we need to do as far as the fabric is glue our top piece down into place. So we're going to repeat exactly what we did on the bottom. All right, so now you should have your entire box covered. I went ahead and just cleaned up any glue strings that kind of stuck to my fabric and made sure it was nice and neat, because now we're going to start working on the ribbon portion. This is a 2.5 inch wide ribbon. Starting in the very center of our box, about halfway, we are going to put a little dab of glue, again right in the center on top of our fabric, and we are going to glue down our ribbon. Take a little glue on the edge just to kind of hold that ribbon in place. Now this is going to be covered up with some greenery and decoration, so don't worry if it, if you see the glue. I just want to make sure that it's lined up nice and straight about halfway in the center of our box. I'm going to flip this ribbon up and kind of use my finger to hold it in place. I'm going to put some more glue right on the edge to hold the ribbon on the edge securely in place. And we're going to fold that ribbon down and hold it into the glue. We're going to flip our box up. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to, on the side, we're going to hold our finger at the edge. I'm going to kind of flip that ribbon up. I'm not cutting the ribbon yet. Right on the edge, so that when we fold it over, it's going to create a nice tight seam. Flip it over. Hold our finger in about the center. And do a couple more dots of glue. I'm doing 1 dot on each side of the ribbon just to kind of hold the edges down. 2 more dots of glue. Make sure our ribbon, before we glue this last one into place, we want to make sure that that ribbon is going to be lined up to meet our top ribbon perfectly. And then once we meet up with the other ribbon right here, we can go ahead and just give a small, like 1/4 inch overlap, and we'll cut that ribbon off. At the very end, we'll put 2 more dollops of glue on our ribbon and glue that ribbon right down so it meets up perfectly with the other side. Repeat this process, but going the opposite way. We're going to start in the middle on top of our ribbon, go to the edge, glue it right down. Okay. So now we have our entire ribbon crisscrossing our round box. If you have any ribbon that is kind of flipping up on the edges, you can go ahead and put a little bit of glue on that area just to kind of hold it down so that we have no ribbon flipping up. All right, now it's time to start decorating our box top. I thought this little sled from the Dollar Tree looked really adorable. It brought out some of the browns from the brown and the animal print on the box. I'm just gonna put a little strip of glue or a couple little dots of glue along each of the runners of the sled. Sit that right down in the middle, kind of going at a diagonal. Cut off some of the tops really short, really close to the stem is really short because I didn't want a long stem on this one. So I actually have 4 poinsettias, a little piece of pine, and a little pine cone. And put it on the edge of my flower. And I'm gonna kind of wrap these right around my little sled. can be really creative with your decorating. Alright, so that is our first box. I think it's adorable. We'll go ahead and do the small little white box next. For this little white box that we're gonna be covering, we are using this like chamois rag that has this little edge on it that's stitched into place. I'm gonna take my scissors and go around the entire edge and just cut that off. Alright, so for the square box, we're gonna do this slightly different than we did for the circular box. We're going to actually have a flap that's going to cover the side, the top, and the other side. Then we'll have another strip that will be covering this side, the bottom, and then the opposite side. We're going to lay our box down on the side with the bottom facing out. You want to be as close to your outer edge as possible. We are going to just lightly trace the outer edges of our box onto the fabric. Then we're going to flip it upside down, trace that onto our fabric. Now flip it up on the side again, and we're going to make a final third trace on both sides. And then here we're going to trace the back as well. That is going to give us one strip. Now we're going to do the opposite. Now we're going to lay our box with the top side on the edge. Trace the outside edge on both sides. Flip the bottom down. We're going to trace that. Flip it back up on its other side. And again, we're going to trace the top. We'll have two portions that we're going to need to cut out. You'll have two pieces that you've cut out. You'll notice one piece is going to be slightly wider in the center. That is going to be the piece that's going to cover the top portion of our box. And then there's another piece that's more narrow that will cover the bottom portion. We are going to actually start with the bottom portion first. I want it with the side that we traced facing up. You're going to start at the very top edge. A strip of glue right across the top. Lay that right down, perfectly lined up with our fabric. Another strip of glue right at the bottom seam at the corner. Fold our box over, and we're gonna do the same thing on this corner edge. Fold our box over. Because you've kind of stretched it, you might end up with a little overlap. That's okay. We can cut that off after. Fold that little flap up. I'm gonna put a strip of glue across this edge, fabric right down into the glue, and like I said, you want it nice and tight, and if there is a little bit that overhangs, you can go ahead and take your scissors and just trim that right off. I'm gonna go in with some glue just around the open edges and glue those down into place. I'm just gonna take a ruler or something with a nice straight edge just so that I don't burn my fingers. All right, so once all of your edges are glued firmly into place, now we can work on our top portion. Put a bead of glue along the bottom. Now lay that bead of glue right evenly down into our fabric. Repeat that process that we did before. Another strip of glue, fold that box over. On our next corner, fold that over. Put a full strip of glue all the way around because we're going to end up gluing it down, the edge down anyhow. I'm going to push that right down in place. I'm going to use my ruler to kind of get the seams, get the other seams that aren't glued down. Now we have our next box nice and I'm going to again use the same ribbon that we used in our last box that we did. I'm going to hold that ribbon right in the center. I'm going to put a couple little dots of glue to hold it in place. I'm going to go all the way around until I meet back up again. And I'm going to trim that ribbon off so that there's just a small little bit that laps. Okay, so with the square box, you don't have to worry as much about the edges because if you pull the ribbon tight enough, it should stay into place fairly nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and glue. And just leave a little to overlap. And cut off the excess and glue that one down. I actually have this glitter ribbon, again, it's from the dollar store, and I love the sparkle to it. So I'm actually gonna repeat this crisscross ribbon process with the white ribbon right over this little red strip of ribbon. Wrap it all the way around. And I'll trim it off. So now there you can see you got an extra little bit of sparkle on that white gift. I really, really like this little gold reindeer with antlers that I got from the Dollar Tree last year. Put some glue on the back side and I'm going to stick it right down in the bottom corner of my box. I'm gonna fill in all behind the antlers with some more of these clipped poinsettias. Stick that right down like that. One over here on the other side. Check that out. How gorgeous is that wrapped gift? All right, friends, so here they are. These turned out gorgeous. Now I paid $10 for this one right here. It was normally $20 from Hobby Lobby, 50% off. And the two that I made from the dollar store were $4 each. Turned out just as nice or nicer than the one from Hobby Lobby. I'm super happy with them. Hope you guys enjoyed this DIY and stick around for more holiday DIYs to come.